Hello everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to package your game in CryEngine, and it is a lot easier than you think. So let's get started. Before you package your game, you need to export your level, and so make sure you do that. But if you're already ready to package your game for production in Steam or wherever you're going to go, I'm going to assume you already know how to do that. But before we go any further, let's open our solution for your video game. And of course, you would go to your project, solutions, Windows 64, and game.solution. Let's open that up. So given that you have been programming your game, and if you are making game, you probably have been. So you need to build your game.dll in release mode. Alright, so you may already be in debug mode, you may be in profile mode, but it needs to be done in release because release is a lot more efficient than debug or profile because it doesn't have all the debugging capabilities. So to do this, of course, you would just go to build here, build solution, or you just press Control-Shift-B. All right, and after you do that, now you are ready. Remember, it has to be in release though. But before we do that, let's go to your game.cry project. Okay, so let's open this with your favorite editor. I like Sublime Text. So we have all of these variables here. So this is where you keep all of your commands and variables to make your game function. So this is very important. I'm going to go through this briefly. It's pretty easy to understand. So all these console variables in CryEngine like efog, since I'm a VR guy, sysvr support, of course the colon and equals, colon is just an equals, and put that to 1, so, or water ocean equals 0. This is where you set it. It runs this on startup. Of course, you can't do everything from here, but of course, we'll get to that in a moment. Now, but what I really want to point out here is this. Bin win64 underscore release / game.dll. Make sure it's used underscore release. All right, that is very important, or else it's never going to find your game.dll and your game just isn't going to run. This is very important, so make sure you changed it to this. So it may look like this initially. It may look like this. So make sure you find this. So win x64 Control F, look it up, okay? All right. So you want to add release to this. Make sure you spell it right. And now, so now we can go forward and build our game. So let's say you're ready now. You're ready to go. So right click on game.cry project and make sure you save this. Right click on game.cry project. And let's go to launch game. No, launch game has to launch the game. Where is it? Package build. I don't know how I missed that. Okay. And of course, you don't want to do it in profile. No. Release. Make sure you have the release version of your CryEngine in here too. That's very important. So put it in release. All right, and then press package. I'm not going to do it because this is a fairly large project, but this is something you need to do. It may take 10 to 15 minutes. It's just basically copying and pasting everything into a special folder, and we'll go through that in a moment. So you may have your project name underscore package. So let's go inside of it. This has already been built out, okay? So don't worry about this. The only thing you're going to worry about is a file. So you may have a file called, I'll go ahead and make one for you, just for instance. You may have a file called game.crygame. Okay? And it won't be a directory, actually. It'll be a txt. So let's be a txt. Game.crygame. This is just for example purposes. So you may have this in here. And if you were to open it up, you would have all your Cry project contents inside of here. Okay? So This doesn't quite work. On my end, it doesn't. I've gotten it to work on other projects, but usually what may happen is if you run it, you may get a game.dll not found, or you actually get a game.cry project not found. So there are two solutions to this. You can change this to game.cry project, or you can do it the old CryEngine way. I prefer the old way. So config.pack, okay? That's very important. And to make a config.pack, let's just go ahead and I'll make one for you. I'll show you how to do it. Let's just call this OG. All right, so we need a config.pack. So let's go ahead and go to folder. Let's call this config, all right? And let's go ahead and make a zip file from this. I'm using 7-zip. And there we have config.zip. So we need to go ahead and change this to .pack. And let me go ahead and get rid of these Windows notifications for you guys. All right, so we need to change this to .pack, and yes. Press yes. So now you have a config.pack. Familiar, right? So with this converted Cry project, you're going to open this up. So I use 7-zip. It helps a lot. Open it. Open archive. You're just going to delete this. Going to drag and drop this in there. Okay. No problem. All right. And you delete this. And then now that should be fixed. So go to bin 164 release. Make sure you have your game.dll in here. All right. And then game launch.exe, and you double click that, and you should be good to go. So let me go ahead and undo all of this to show you what you may or may not see, if it does it for me. All right, so let's delete you too. And bin. And of course, it's going to launch the game. All right. So you may get an error saying you can't find the Cry project. Just run it a few times, and you should be fine. It takes a moment to recognize it, but once it recognizes it, you'll be fine. No issue. And another thing you should do, I could never figure out how to do the user manual for shader cache, but copy the user. This is the user stuff. You need this. So copy this user folder and put it in your package, and you just paste it in here. And delete everything that is not shaders. And then you should have your shader cache. All right, and user, if you ever see something like this, like user parentheses 1, that means it tried to overwrite a shader cache. That's not right. It's not supposed to do that whatsoever, and I have made a function to destroy this whenever it shows up. You can do the same. It's just searching for the directory and killing it and then starting the game. Completely up to you, but Godspeed.